Welcome to Speak English Confident. I'm Nora, and I'm really happy you're here with us today. Many English learners tell me the same story. They understand a lot of English. They study grammar, they watch videos, they learn vocabulary, but when they start speaking with someone, their mind suddenly becomes quiet. The words disappear, and they think, oh no, what do I say now? If that has happened to you before, today's episode will help you a lot. Miles is here with me today.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here again, but I also feel a little nervous about today's topic.
Really?
Yes, because what you described happens to me all the time. I'm talking with someone in English, everything is going well, and then suddenly my brain stops. It's like someone turned off the electricity.
That is a very good description. Many learners say the same thing. They say their brain just stops working.
Exactly. And the worst moment is when the other person is waiting for me to say something. They look at me, and I just stand there thinking, what is the word? What is the word?
That moment can feel very uncomfortable, but the good news is something important. You do not need perfect English to continue a conversation. You only need a few small tools.
Small tools?
Yes, simple phrases, simple strategies, ways to keep the conversation moving even when your English feels stuck.
That sounds very useful, because usually when I forget a word, I feel like the conversation is finished.
But it doesn't have to be finished. Actually, many native speakers forget words too.
Really?
Of course, everyone forgets words sometimes. The difference is that confident speakers know how to continue anyway.
So today we will learn how to do that?
Yes, today we will practice what to say when you forget a word, you don't understand something, you need time to think, or you suddenly feel nervous.
That sounds like every conversation I have. That's great.
Then today will be very practical. Let's start with the first situation. You're talking with someone, maybe a coworker, maybe a new friend, maybe someone you just met. You start speaking, everything feels normal, and then suddenly you cannot remember a word.
Oh yes, that moment is terrible.
What do you usually do when that happens?
Honestly, sometimes I just stop talking.
You stop?
Yes, or I say, and then I feel embarrassed.
That is very common, but there is a better way. When you forget a word, the most important thing is this: do not stop the conversation. Instead, tell the other person what is happening.
Tell them?
Yes, you can say something very simple. For example, I forgot the word for a moment.
That's it?
Yes, that small sentence helps a lot because now the other person understands what is happening.
That makes sense. If I suddenly become quiet, the other person might feel confused.
Exactly. But if you say, I forgot the word for a moment, now the conversation is still alive.
I like that. It feels honest.
Honesty makes communication easier. Let's practice a few helpful sentences. You can say, I forgot the word, or give me a second, or what's the word?
Oh, I hear native speakers say that sometimes. They say, what's the word?
Yes, they say it while thinking. For example, I went to what's the word? The place where you buy medicine.
Ah, the pharmacy.
Exactly. Even native speakers sometimes describe something when they forget a word.
So instead of stopping, we can explain the idea.
Yes, that is one of the most powerful speaking skills. If you don't know a word, describe it.
That feels much easier, because maybe I don't know the exact word, but I know the idea.
Exactly. Let's imagine a real-life situation. You are talking with a friend about your weekend. You want to say, I went hiking, but you forgot the word hiking.
That happens.
So instead of stopping, you can say, I went to the mountains and walked for many hours.
Ah, the other person will understand.
Yes, communication is about meaning, not perfect vocabulary.
I think many learners forget that.
They do. Many people believe they must use the perfect word every time, but in real conversations, people often explain ideas in different ways.
That actually makes me feel less pressure.
Good. Let's practice together. Imagine this situation. You are talking with a coworker during lunch. They ask you, "What did you do last weekend?"
Okay.
You want to say you watched a documentary, but you forgot the word documentary. What could you say instead?
Maybe I watched a movie about real life.
That is perfect.
Really?
Yes, that sentence communicates the idea clearly.
So communication is more flexible than I thought.
Very flexible. Now let's talk about another common moment. You are listening to someone speak English. They say something quickly, and you don't understand.
Oh, yes, that happens to me often, especially when someone speaks fast.
What do you usually do in that situation?
Sometimes I just smile.
Even if you don't understand?
Yes, which is not always a good idea.
It can create funny misunderstandings.
Yes. Once someone asked me a question and I smiled and said yes, but later I realized they asked something completely different.
That happens to many learners. Instead of pretending to understand, it's better to ask for help.
But sometimes I feel shy asking people to repeat.
That is understandable. But remember something important. Good communication is teamwork. The other person usually wants to help you understand.
That's true.
So you can say simple sentences like, "Sorry, could you repeat?"
That sounds polite.
Another good sentence is, "Sorry, I didn't catch that."
I didn't catch that. I hear that a lot.
Yes, it's very natural. It means you didn't hear or understand something. Let me try.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you say it again?
Perfect. That sentence is very natural in everyday English.
I already feel like this will make conversations easier.
Good. Now let's practice a small role play together.
Okay?
I will be your coworker. You are at work. Ready?
Ready.
Hey, Miles, did you finish the report for tomorrow's meeting?
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you repeat?
Sure. Did you finish the report for tomorrow's meeting?
Oh, yes. I'm still working on it, but it will be ready later today.
Excellent. That was a perfect response.
It actually felt natural.
Because simple English is powerful. You don't need complicated sentences to communicate well.
That's encouraging.
Now I want to talk about another moment that many English learners experience. A moment when the conversation suddenly changes direction and you don't know what to say.
Yes, sometimes my brain needs a few seconds.
Exactly. And those seconds can feel very long.
Especially when someone is looking at you. That's useful.
Yes, but here's the secret. Good speakers use small thinking phrases.
Thinking phrases?
Yes, small expressions that give your brain time. For example, "Let me think."
Ah, that's simple.
Or you can say, "That's a good question."
Oh, I like that one.
Many people use it before answering. For example, "That's a good question. Let me think."
So while I say that, my brain has time to prepare the answer.
Exactly. These small phrases create a natural pause in the conversation.
That's very helpful.
Let's practice again. I will ask you a question. Take a moment and use a thinking phrase.
Okay.
What is your favorite place to relax?
That's a good question. Let me think. I think my favorite place to relax is a quiet coffee shop.
Wonderful. That sounded very natural.
It really helped my brain organize the answer.
Exactly. These small tools can change how confident you feel in English conversations.
I already feel less afraid of those silent moments.
Good, because silence in conversation is normal, but when you have the right phrases, those moments feel comfortable instead of stressful.
That's a big difference.
In a moment, we're going to explore another situation that many English learners experience, a moment when the conversation suddenly changes direction and you don't know what to say.
Sometimes when a conversation suddenly changes direction, I feel lost.
Yes, that is a very common experience. A conversation can move very quickly. One moment you are talking about work. The next moment, someone asks about your hobbies. Then suddenly the topic becomes travel, food, or family.
Exactly. And when that happens, my brain needs a few seconds to adjust. But during those seconds, I feel pressure to answer quickly.
That pressure is something many learners feel. But here is something important to remember. Conversations are not a race. You do not need to answer immediately.
Really? Because sometimes it feels like I must answer right away.
You can take a moment, and there are natural ways to do that. For example, you can say, "Oh, interesting question."
Oh, I like that.
Or you can say, I never thought about that before."
That sounds very natural.
Yes, these sentences give you time to think. They also show the other person that you are engaged in the conversation.
That feels much better than silence.
Exactly. Let's imagine another real-life situation. You're meeting someone for the first time, maybe at a small event, maybe at a coffee shop. You start with simple topics: where you live, what you do for work. Then suddenly the person asks, "What do you usually do for fun?"
Oh, that question always makes me pause.
Why?
Because I suddenly start thinking about many things, and then my brain becomes slow.
That is very normal. So instead of feeling nervous, you can use a thinking phrase. For example, "That's a good question."
Yes, we practiced that earlier. Then you can continue naturally. That's a good question. I think I enjoy quiet activities.
And then you can explain more.
Exactly. Maybe you say, I enjoy reading, or I like walking in the park, or I like watching movies.
This feels manageable because conversation does not need to be complicated. Simple ideas are enough.
Sometimes I think I need to say something very interesting.
Many learners feel that pressure, but good conversations are usually simple. People enjoy listening to honest, natural answers.
That makes me feel more relaxed.
Good. Now let's talk about another situation that often makes learners uncomfortable: when there is a short silence in a conversation.
Oh, yes, silence feels very scary sometimes.
Why do you think silence feels uncomfortable?
Maybe because I think the conversation is failing, or maybe the other person thinks I am boring.
Don't worry. Small silences in conversation are completely normal, even between native speakers.
Really?
Yes, small pauses happen naturally. People think, people breathe, people organize their ideas.
That's true, but when I'm speaking English, the silence feels bigger.
Because you become more aware of it.
Yes.
But instead of worrying about silence, you can learn small phrases to continue the conversation.
That sounds helpful.
One very useful phrase is, "by the way."
Oh, yes, I hear that often.
By the way helps you introduce a new idea. For example, "By the way, have you watched any good movies recently?"
Ah, so if the conversation becomes quiet, I can start a new topic.
Exactly. That keeps the conversation flowing.
Let me try.
Okay. Imagine we are talking at a cafe. There is a small silence. What could you say?
By the way, do you like coffee?
Perfect. That is a very natural question in a cafe.
This makes conversations feel less stressful.
Because now you have tools.
Yes. Before, silence felt like a problem. Now it feels like an opportunity.
I like that perspective. Now let's explore another situation. Sometimes in conversations, people ask unexpected questions.
Oh, yes, those are the hardest.
For example, someone might ask, "What is your dream job?"
That question would surprise me.
Exactly. Unexpected questions can make your brain freeze for a moment.
Yes, I might suddenly forget all my English.
That happens to many learners. But again, you can use thinking phrases. For example, "Wow, that's an interesting question."
That gives me time.
Then you can answer slowly. Maybe you say, "I think my dream job would be something creative."
Even if my answer is simple, it is still communication.
Exactly. Remember something very important. A conversation is not a test.
That's an important idea.
You are not trying to prove perfect English. You are simply sharing ideas with another person.
When I think of conversations like a test, I feel nervous.
Many learners feel that way, but real conversations are relaxed. People are not judging every sentence.
That thought alone reduces a lot of pressure.
Good. Now let's practice another role play. This time, the topic will change during the conversation.
Okay,
I will start. Hey, Miles, how was your day at work?
it was good. I had a few meetings, but everything went well.
That's great. By the way, do you like cooking?
That's an interesting question. Yes, I like cooking sometimes, especially on weekends.
What do you like to cook?
I enjoy cooking simple meals, sometimes pasta, sometimes rice with vegetables.
That sounds delicious.
It's simple, but I enjoy the process.
That was excellent. You used a thinking phrase and your answer was natural.
It actually felt comfortable.
That is the goal. Comfortable communication. Now let's talk about another something many learners experience emotionally, fear of making mistakes.
Yes, that fear is always there.
What do you feel when you make a mistake in English?
Sometimes I feel embarrassed. I think the other person will notice immediately.
And what happens next?
Then I start thinking about the mistake and I stop focusing on the conversation.
That is a very common reaction. But here is something interesting. Most people do not pay attention to small mistakes.
Really?
Not in normal conversations. People focus on the meaning.
That's reassuring.
Let me give you an example. Imagine you say, "Yesterday I go to the store."
That's not perfect grammar.
But everyone understands you.
Yes, the meaning is clear.
Exactly. Communication is successful.
So small mistakes are not the end of the world.
Not at all. Actually, mistakes are part of learning.
That's true.
When you allow yourself to make mistakes, your confidence grows faster.
Because I keep speaking.
Exactly. Silence does not build confidence. Speaking does.
I like that sentence.
Let's repeat it together. Speaking builds confidence.
Speaking builds confidence.
Good. Now I want to introduce another very useful expression. Sometimes you want to show interest in what the other person says.
Yes, that helps conversations feel natural.
Exactly. You can use short responses like, "Really?"
Oh, yes.
Or, "That sounds interesting."
That's easy to remember.
Or you can say, "Tell me more about that."
I like that one. It invites the other person to continue speaking.
Exactly. Good conversations are balanced. Both people speak, both people listen.
Sometimes listening is easier than speaking
And listening carefully makes conversation smoother.
because I can ask better questions.
Exactly. Let's imagine another situation. You are talking with a friend who just came back from a trip.
Okay.
They say, "I just came back from Italy."
I could say, really, how was it?
Perfect. Then they explain their experience and you can respond again. "That sounds amazing."
These small reactions make the conversation feel alive.
Exactly. Conversation is like a small dance. People take turns speaking and responding.
I like that image.
Now imagine another moment. You want to keep the conversation going, but you are not sure what to ask next.
Yes, that happens a lot.
There is a simple strategy. Ask about feelings or experiences.
Can you give an example?
Of course, if someone says, "I started a new job," you can ask, "How do you like it so far?"
That's a great question.
Or if someone says, "I moved to a new apartment," you can ask, "How is the new place?"
These questions feel very natural,
Yes, because they show interest.
and they keep the conversation moving.
Exactly. Now let's try another short role play.
Okay,
I will tell you something and you respond. Ready?
ready.
I started learning photography last month.
Really? That sounds interesting. How do you like it so far?
I enjoy it a lot. I love taking pictures of nature.
That sounds relaxing.
Excellent response.
This is starting to feel more natural.
That is because conversation is a skill, and skills grow with practice.
I think many learners believe confidence comes first,
But actually, practice comes first.
and confidence grows after.
Exactly. In a moment, we will explore another common moment in English conversations, a moment when you want to express your opinion, but you feel unsure how to begin.
Expressing opinions in English is something that still makes me nervous.
Why do you think it feels difficult?
Because when someone asks for my opinion, I suddenly feel pressure to say something smart, and then my brain starts searching for the perfect sentence.
That is a very common feeling, but sharing an opinion in English does not require complicated language. In fact, the most natural opinions are usually simple.
That is good to hear.
Let's start with a very easy phrase. You can say, I think,
That's simple.
very simple, but very powerful. For example, I think this movie is interesting.
Yes, that sounds natural.
Another useful phrase is, in my opinion.
I learned that phrase in school.
Yes, it is very common. For example, in my opinion, this restaurant has great food.
That sounds a little more formal.
Exactly. I think feels casual and relaxed. In my opinion, feels slightly more thoughtful.
So I can choose depending on the situation.
Exactly. Now, let's imagine a real conversation. You and a friend are talking about movies. Your friend says, I watched a new action movie yesterday.
Okay.
Then they ask, do you like action movies?
I could say, I think action movies are exciting.
Perfect. Then you can add a little more detail. For example, I think action movies are exciting, but sometimes they are too loud.
Yes, some of them are very loud.
Now, notice something important. You started with a simple opinion, then you added a small explanation.
That structure feels easy to follow.
Exactly. Opinion, then reason.
I think coffee is great because it helps me wake up.
Excellent example.
This pattern makes speaking easier.
Because your brain knows what comes next. Opinion, then explanation.
That removes a lot of pressure.
Now let's talk about another situation. Sometimes your opinion is different from the other person's opinion.
Yes, that moment can feel uncomfortable.
But in English conversations, it is normal for people to disagree politely.
That sounds important to learn.
Very important. Let's start with a gentle way to disagree. You can say, I see what you mean, but...
That sounds polite.
For example, your friend says, I think waking up early is the best way to start the day.
But maybe I don't agree.
Exactly. So you can say, I see what you mean, but I prefer waking up a little later.
That sounds respectful.
Yes, you show that you understand the other person before sharing your opinion.
That keeps the conversation friendly.
Exactly. Another useful phrase is, that's true, but...
Can you give an example?
Of course, your friend says, big cities are exciting.
Yes.
You might respond, that's true, but I prefer living in a quiet place.
I like that. It feels balanced.
Exactly. Conversations are about exchanging ideas, not winning arguments.
That's a helpful mindset.
Now let's practice a small role play again.
Okay.
I will say an opinion, you respond naturally.
Ready.
I think working from home is better than working in an office.
I see what you mean, but I think working in an office helps people communicate more easily.
That was excellent.
It actually felt very natural.
Because you used a simple structure, agreement first, then your opinion.
This makes disagreements feel less stressful.
Exactly. Now let's explore another very common moment in conversations. Someone asks you a question about your experience.
That happens often.
For example, someone might ask, have you ever traveled alone?
I would need to think about my answer.
Yes, and this is a great moment to use storytelling.
Storytelling?
Yes, sharing a short experience. For example, yes, I traveled alone once.
Then I can explain what happened.
Exactly. You might say, yes, I traveled alone once. I visited a small beach town and spent 3 days there.
That feels natural.
Then the other person might ask more questions.
So the conversation continues.
Exactly. Stories are powerful in conversations.
But sometimes I worry my story will not sound interesting.
It does not need to be dramatic. Simple stories are often the most enjoyable.
That's reassuring.
For example, someone asks, "What did you do last weekend?"
That's a very common question.
You could answer like this. "Last weekend, I visited a park near my house. I walked around and enjoyed the fresh air."
That's simple, but it paints a clear picture.
Exactly. Clarity is more important than complexity.
I'm starting to notice something.
What is it?
I'm starting to notice that most good conversations use very simple English.
That is absolutely true. Natural English conversations usually use simple words and clear ideas.
That makes learning feel less intimidating.
Good. Now let's talk about another moment that many learners experience. A moment when someone speaks very quickly and you need help understanding what they mean.
When someone speaks very quickly in English, I sometimes feel completely lost.
That is something many English learners experience. Fast speech can feel overwhelming.
Yes, even if I understand English normally, fast speech makes everything sound different.
That's true. When people speak quickly, words connect together. The rhythm changes, and sometimes small words disappear.
Exactly. Sometimes I recognize the topic, but I miss important details.
And when that happens, what do you usually do?
Sometimes I just smile and hope I understood correctly.
Many learners do that, but there are better strategies.
I would love to learn them.
The first strategy is simple. Ask the person to slow down.
That sounds scary,
Why?
because I don't want to bother them.
Most people are happy to slow down when they know someone is learning English. Communication works best when both people cooperate.
That makes sense.
You can say something like, "Sorry, could you speak a little slower?"
That sounds polite.
Very polite. Another helpful sentence is, "Could you say that again?"
Yes, we practiced that earlier.
Exactly. But there is another useful strategy. Sometimes you understand part of the sentence, but not everything.
Yes, that happens often.
In that case, you can repeat the part you understood.
Repeat it?
Yes. For example, someone says, "I'm planning a trip next month to visit my cousin in Canada."
Okay.
Maybe you only understood trip next month.
Yes.
You could say, "You're taking a trip next month?"
Ah, like confirming.
Exactly. Then the other person will naturally explain again.
That feels much more comfortable than pretending to understand.
Yes, pretending creates confusion later.
I've experienced that before.
Let's practice a small role play.
Okay.
I will speak quickly. Your job is to ask for clarification.
Ready.
So, next weekend, we're planning to visit a small town near the lake because my friend heard there's a festival there.
Sorry, could you say that a little slower?
Of course. Next weekend, we are visiting a small town near the lake. There will be a festival there.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Perfect response.
It felt natural.
Because asking for help is normal in conversations.
I think many learners feel embarrassed asking people to repeat.
Yes, but communication is not about hiding difficulties. It's about solving them together.
That's a good mindset.
Now, let's talk about another situation. Sometimes you understand the words, but you don't understand the meaning.
Yes, that happens too.
Maybe someone uses an expression or phrase you have never heard before.
Exactly. Then I feel confused.
In that moment, you can ask a simple question. You can say, "What does that mean?"
That's very direct.
Yes, and it is perfectly natural. Another polite way is, "Could you explain that?"
That sounds friendly.
Let's imagine a situation. Your friend says, "I'm feeling under the weather today."
I might not understand that expression.
Exactly. So you could say, "Sorry, what does under the weather mean?"
Then they can explain.
Yes, they might say, "It means I feel a little sick."
That's very helpful.
And now you learned a new expression.
So asking questions actually helps me learn faster.
Exactly. Curiosity is a powerful learning tool.
I like that.
Now, let's talk about another emotional moment that many learners experience, feeling nervous when speaking with a native speaker.
Oh, yes. That feeling is very real.
What do you usually feel in that situation?
My heart beats faster, I start thinking about every word, and then I become less natural.
That reaction is very common. But here is something interesting. Many native speakers also feel nervous when speaking another language.
That's true. I never thought about it that way.
Language learning requires courage. Every conversation is a small act of bravery.
I like that idea.
And remember something important. Most people appreciate your effort.
Yes, when someone tries to speak my language, I respect that effort.
Exactly. So native speakers often feel the same respect for you.
That perspective reduces a lot of fear.
Good. Now let's explore another youthful skill, keeping a conversation going when the other person finishes speaking.
Sometimes I don't know what to say next.
That's very normal, but you can use follow-up questions.
Follow-up questions?
Yes, questions related to what the other person just said.
That makes logical sense.
For example, someone says, I started running every morning last week,
Really? What time do you usually run?
around 6 in the morning.
Wow, that's early. Is it hard to wake up that early?
That was perfect,
It felt like a natural conversation.
because curiosity creates conversation.
I like that phrase.
Now, imagine another situation. You're talking to a new person, maybe at work or at an event.
Okay.
You start with a simple greeting,
Hi, nice to meet you.
then you ask a simple question.
How long have you been working here?
They respond, I started about 3 months ago.
Then I can ask a follow-up question. What do you like most about the job?
Perfect. Now the conversation continues naturally.
It feels like building small bridges between ideas.
That is a beautiful way to describe conversation. Small bridges connecting ideas.
I'm starting to see that speaking English is not only about vocabulary.
Exactly. It's about communication skills, listening, responding, asking, sharing.
That makes the learning process feel more human.
Very much so. And in just a moment, we're going to practice a longer conversation together, a real-life situation where you use many of the phrases and strategies we talked about today.
I'm starting to feel more confident about conversations now. But I think it would really help to practice a full conversation from beginning to end.
That's a wonderful idea. Real conversations are a mix of many small skills: greeting someone, asking questions, sharing opinions, listening carefully, and responding naturally.
So today we can try a longer conversation?
Yes, let's imagine a real-life situation. You are meeting a new coworker during a lunch break.
Okay,
You both sit down at the table. The conversation begins.
I'll start.
Great.
Hi, is this seat free?
Yes, of course. Please sit down.
Thanks. By the way, I don't think we've met before. My name is Miles.
Nice to meet you, Miles. I'm Nora.
Nice to meet you too. How long have you been working here?
I started about 6 months ago.
Oh, nice. How do you like it so far?
I like it a lot. The team is very friendly.
That's great to hear. I actually started just last week.
Oh, really? Welcome to the team.
Thank you. I'm still learning how everything works.
That's completely normal. The first few weeks can feel a little overwhelming.
Yes, that's exactly how I feel. But everyone has been very helpful.
That's good. What department are you working in?
I'm in the marketing department.
Interesting. What kind of projects do you work on?
Right now, I'm helping with social media campaigns. It's actually very interesting.
That sounds creative.
Yes, I enjoy that part. Speaking of creativity, do you have any hobbies outside of work?
That's a good question. I enjoy painting in my free time.
Really? What kind of paintings do you like to create?
Mostly landscapes. I love painting nature scenes.
That sounds relaxing.
It really is. What about you? What do you usually do in your free time?
I enjoy photography. I started learning it recently.
That's wonderful. What do you like to photograph?
Mostly city scenes, buildings, streets, and small everyday moments.
That sounds very artistic.
I'm still learning, but it's fun.
Learning something new is always exciting.
That's true. By the way, do you usually have lunch here at the office?
Sometimes, but sometimes I go to a small cafe nearby.
Oh, really? What's it called?
It's called Green Corner Cafe.
That sounds nice. How's the food there?
It's very good. They have great sandwiches and fresh salads.
That sounds perfect for lunch.
Yes, and the atmosphere is very quiet.
I like quiet cafes. They're great places to relax.
Exactly. That reminds me, do you like coffee?
Yes, I do. I usually drink coffee every morning.
Me too. I think coffee makes mornings easier.
I completely agree.
Have you tried the coffee here at the office?
Not yet. Is it good?
I think it's okay, but the cafe coffee is definitely better.
That's good to know. Maybe I'll visit the cafe tomorrow.
You should. It's only a few minutes away.
Great. Thanks for the recommendation.
Of course.
By the way, do many people from the office go there?
Yes, quite a few people do. It's a popular spot during lunch breaks.
That sounds like a good place to meet colleagues.
Exactly. It's a nice place for casual conversations.
I enjoy conversations like this. They make the workday feel more friendly.
I agree. Work environments feel much better when people connect.
Yes, I think conversations help people feel comfortable.
They really do. You know, earlier I used to feel nervous speaking English, but conversations like this feel easier now.
That's wonderful to hear. Confidence grows with practice. I think the phrases we practiced today help a lot.
Which ones do you find most helpful?
I like "that's a good question." It gives me time to think.
That's a very useful phrase.
And I also like "speaking of." It helps change the topic naturally.
Yes, it keeps the conversation flowing.
Before learning these phrases, I often felt stuck. Now I feel like I have tools.
That's exactly the goal. Simple tools that help you communicate naturally.
I also realized something important.
What did you realize?
Good conversations don't require perfect English.
That is absolutely true.
They require curiosity, listening, and sharing ideas.
Beautifully said.
I think many learners worry too much about grammar.
Yes, but communication is about connection.
That idea really changed my mindset.
And when your mindset changes, speaking becomes easier.
I feel that.
Before we finish, I want to share a small challenge for everyone listening.
A challenge?
Yes, the next time you speak English with someone, try using 3 simple strategies.
Which ones?
First, use a thinking phrase. For example, let me think.
That helps your brain organize ideas.
Second, ask a follow-up question.
Because curiosity keeps the conversation alive.
Exactly. And third, share a small personal story.
Stories make conversations more meaningful.
Yes, even a simple story about your day can create connection.
I really like that idea.
The more you practice these small skills, the more natural English conversations will feel.
And confidence will grow step by step.
Exactly.
Thank you for guiding us through all these situations today.
It was my pleasure. And to everyone listening, remember this. Your English does not need to be perfect. Your voice matters. Your ideas matter. And every conversation you have is another step forward.
Keep speaking, keep practicing, and most importantly, keep believing in your progress.
And we're very glad you spent this time with us today. Until next time, keep speaking with confidence.